Hey guys, Abner Miranda here. Welcome out to the range. Just finished knocking out a video about gearing up to go training or something like that. I was actually going to do one thing and found myself doing another. So this one is the 1776 report. For those that don't know, on November 2nd of 2020, and yes, that's one day before the elections, President Trump signed an executive order, which is this one here on the screen. I always forget the name of it. But essentially it's calling for the 1776 report, which he then published a few weeks afterward. And it is today is February 14th, 2021. Happy Valentine's Day. The reason I'm on the range, so you guys don't think I'm heartless, the reason I'm on the range is my wife is in Michigan doing some training. She's a nurse. And so I'm here on the range by myself. And my daughters are at that age where, ew, going out for Valentine's lunch with dad, ew, so whatever. I love you girls, I really do. I love you. And I love you too, son. He doesn't live with us anymore. Anyways, so the 1776 report. When I began, you know what, I'm not even going to stand here because it is too stinking cold to be standing around. Guys, I went to a class several years ago with Chris Costa. That dude lives in Wyoming, okay? And he was like, he goes, guys, I cannot believe how cold it is here. It was held in Camden, Tennessee at James Yeager's range. And it's like, guys, it's the humidity. Right now it's 30 something out here, but the humidity is ridiculous. The humidity is really, really high. And it's going through everything. I'm actually wearing 3 layers on top, and an extra neck gaiter, and a shemagh, and a heavy layer underneath these jeans, and of course jeans. And I'm still cold, so let's get moving. Let's roll. Okay, the 1776 report is a report that President Trump, I love it, it's a report that President Trump released, and I would highly, highly urge you to read it. And before anyone says, well, yeah, Abner, but President Biden took it down. Well, first of all, he's not President Biden, he's Biden. He's not the real president, he's a fake president. More on that in a future video. Second, good luck. I've got it for you on my website. Follow the link in the description, go to the articles section, and you're welcome. You will find the executive order from President Trump, and you will also find the 1776 report. Both of them are in PDF format. Feel free to download. In fact, please download and share. Here's what you're going to find when you read it. This is painful to say, but you guys need to hear it, and I needed to hear it too. Like I said, today is February 14th. As time has gone by since President Trump left the White House, it has come to me, it has become more and more clear to me that President Trump pretty much knew that he was going to have to leave the White House. Today's February 14th. Yesterday, President Trump was acquitted for the second time on on the sham impeachment trial. Oh man, God help our nation, please, Father, help us. And so great. So that keeps 2024 on the table as an option. Here's the deal. If we don't make it to 2022 and fix the problems in the house, look, here I am jaw-jacking, allowing the enemy to walk up on me. I can't even shoot that from here. It'll put a hole in it. You guys think it won't, but it will. M193 zipping out of a 16-inch barrel. Little damaged plates. There we go, that's a better angle. Whew. Bro, that cold air is hard on the lungs. Oh, I yanked it. It's off to the right. Okay, anyways, as I was saying, if we don't get our crap together as a nation, we're not even going to make it to 2022 to try to take back the House and the Senate. So we better get that figured out real quick. If you read the 1776 report, and I would highly suggest that you do, you're going to see a broad picture there. And what you're going to see is a president who genuinely loves America. You're going to see a mandate to teach our children that America is not a rotten nation, that America is a good nation with flaws. But we are a nation created under God and under the law. And we have become lawless, and we have given the finger to God. And we are now reaping the whirlwind that we have created. In the 1776 report, you will find love of nation, love of God. You will find a mandate to parents and to teachers to teach our young children. You will find a call to arms. And now that this has been settled in this sham impeachment, when someone says we must fight, they don't mean literally drag people out in the streets and shoot them. What they mean is stand up for your cause. That's what they mean. And by the way, guys, you're seeing a new course of fire out here. I've changed some of the target positions. I know there's one around here. There it is. Right through the trees. Hit. That's the beauty of shooting an optic. You can see the shot at the moment of impact. Oh, check it out, dude. Dead center. I love it. Dead center. There's one right below. Love it. There's another one, but I'll get that at an angle. When I started reading the 1776 report, immediately I said to myself, two things came to mind. The first one was, wow, this president really loves America. And the other one was, excuse me, the other one was, this is not a done deal. All right, check this out. I did this on purpose. 1, 2, and off at a distance is 3. And the way you treat this moment right here is, this one is facing you more than that one is. So that's the one that first has to get hit. The one in the distance we're going to treat as the guy who's going to squirrel and take off. We'll deal with him later. So the initial, I have to set up. Remember, guys, as I've set this course of fire up, this is not a contact front and you start spraying rounds. This is work the angles. The angle is this guy first. So it's work the angles. I'm well inside of the 100-yard zero, so I have to remember I have to hold up. So that's high, as in like high where I needed it to be. And then there's the next one. That's also a good hit. As you begin to read the report, what you will find is, I think, President Trump knew all along he was going to have to leave the White House. He was going to have to leave the presidency for a time. And like I said before, there is ample evidence that what we're actually looking at is a dual presidency right now. Just like in the Civil War, where we had Jefferson Davis and we had Abraham Lincoln. We had two opposing nations. And I'm starting to think that that might be what we're looking at right now. All right, got to get a shot on this. I'm gonna have to thread. Ooh, there we go. Got a tree branch I can use. That was good. Excellent. And the other one is way the heck out there. Oh, sweet. That was good. 2 good solid hits. Excellent. Excellent. You guys have already heard me say this. My suspicion is that Trump knew that something of this kind was going to be happening, which is why they've turned Mar-a-Lago into quite the fortress. Wow, that target's way out there. Good luck finding that hit. I'm not going to try that. There's another one. There's one more there. Target-rich environment, folks. I did that on purpose. Righteous. Beautiful. Love it, love it. All right, let's take a break for a second. Here's something that I want you to consider. President Trump is not a fool. No matter how much the media tells you, and that he's not. No matter how much the media tells you he's a fool, and and no matter how much he just was pushing that button when he was on Twitter. I mean, he was pushing that button hard. But if those of you that are following him on Gab, guys, it's a whole different president. I'm not the only one who's saying this, okay? If you look at President Trump now versus President Trump then, you're starting to realize he was pushing the button. I've got a point to make, but let me make this first, and I think the second one will be clearer. If you know you have an enemy, then you're going to rattle your saber to make him know you're there. You're going to make noise to make yourself seen and heard. But the problem is you don't fully know who your enemy is. President Trump, and I forget when, 80s or 90s, in the 80s or the 90s, declared bankruptcy. And those of you who have been following him, when that occurred, I was young when that occurred, and even I went, what the hell? President Trump is... I'm sorry, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is declaring bankruptcy? What are you talking about? Well, just recently, I found out from Donald Trump's lifelong friend of Rudy Giuliani that Donald Trump declared bankruptcy purely to shake the bushes and the trees to find out who were his real friends and who were his money friends. And he figured it out real quick. And I'm like, dude, I didn't know that. That's brilliant. Well, now that I've said that, go back in your mind. Think about it. The clues and the cues, remember, we're not talking QAnon. Please put that on the shelf. We're not talking QAnon. The cues and the clues to what I'm talking about are things like the 1776 report, the commission, the executive order that he signed on the commission the day before the election. These are signs. These are things that I'm going to have to get done because I know I'm going to be leaving the building shortly. Oh, and the other thing is this. If you're following any media, including Newsmax, who within 4 days of the election started showing their butts. They cut Dick Morris off in an interview. And I remember when I watched that, I went, wait a minute, what did I just see? What did I just see Newsmax do? They just cut Dick Morris off. And if you don't know who Dick Morris is, do your homework. They just cut Dick Morris off. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you cut off Dick Morris? He's giving you a main line to the president. Why would they cut him off in conversation, in sharing what he's sharing? there's something going on in the background, and people are like, well, you know, they're in the midst of a lawsuit with Dominion. Yeah, I get that. If you're in the midst of a lawsuit with Dominion, then why would you have Mike Lindell on? He's going to talk about Dominion. Why would you have him on? Why would you have him on and then shame yourself, Newsmax? So guys, I'm done. I'm done watching Newsmax. So I don't watch any media, definitely not Fox, and I don't watch Newsmax. The only media that I now pay attention to is the Epoch Times, which means you gotta read. Sorry, you're gonna have to read, because the Epoch Times is a written format. Tangentially connected to the Epoch Times is going to be NTD News, which stands for New Tang Dynasty News. Yes, Chinese, but here's what you don't know, or what you may not know. New Tang Dynasty News is run by Chinese, I forget the term that they used. Basically Chinese people who were such a colossal pain in the butt to the Communist Party that they got pitched out of China. So these people have no love for the CCP. And I'm not the one who's saying this. Recently I heard someone say the only news media outlet that has not been tainted at this point is the Epoch Times, and the Epoch Times and NTD News are connected. So do yourself a favor. Watch a couple of their news broadcasts, go to the Epoch Times, support them financially. We support them financially. It's not much, guys. It's a few dollars a month. It's worth it. It's like Gab. You need to support it. You need to be supporting Gab as well. Anyways, I'm doing my best to mine trustworthy news where I can get it. And guys, all of this has such obvious indications that this isn't over yet. I need to keep moving. Everything that I'm seeing has broad indications that this is not over yet. That's what I find so comical about where we are. The big picture of what I'm trying to give you guys is this. Do not lose faith, because God is still on his throne. That's the big picture. Well, some of you are not comforted by that, because some of you still think that this really does boil down to President Trump. Well, guess what? President Trump knew that it didn't boil down to President Trump. I said this recently on Gab, and now I'm going to say it here. Had President Trump pulled our bacon out of the fire, had the state legislatures pulled our bacon out of the fire, had the state Supreme Courts pulled our bacon out of the fire, had the Supreme Court pulled our bacon out of the fire, had any number of institutions, entities, persons, whatever, pulled our bacon out of the fire for us, we would have been looking at the problem that we're dealing with. Man, you are going to drive me crazy today, aren't you? Thank you. Had any institution, person, group, whatever, pulled our bacon out of the fire for us, we would be looking at this problem a whole lot differently than we're looking at it now. And we would have fallen asleep. We would have been like, man, that was so freaking close, bruh. Man, I'm sure glad they pulled it out of the fire for us. And we would have been like, hey, bro, who's playing in the Super Bowl? Or any number of other stupid things. Hey, what's on TV tonight? Blah, 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 blah. And here's the deal. We would have fallen asleep at the wheel. All right, this is 350 yards to that target out there. I think I'm in a position where I can actually see it from a prone position. Let's see. Nope, I won't be able to see it from here. I think it's here. Nope, it's there. Yeah, it's right here. I can see the muzzle blast from my friend Zeke. I love this shot. There it is. Sweet. I'm having to, let's see here. I'm having to aim at the very tip of his forehead to hit him in the chest. I love it. 350 yards, Jens, 350 yards. Love it. And, you know, it delivers your casings in a nice, neat little pile, too. That's always a positive. So, as I was saying, when we find ourselves as a nation in a position where we basically go, well, you know, man, dude, I'm so glad the military took care of it for us. I'm so glad that he signed the Insurrection Act and the military snatched it. Now look, that's not to say that what we're looking at right now isn't actually the Insurrection Act. A lot of people have said, oh, that's nonsense. He didn't sign the Insurrection Act. You don't know that. You don't know that he didn't sign the Insurrection Act. You don't know that the people saying he didn't sign the Insurrection Act isn't false spin against the enemy. Remember, we could be looking at the same position America was in back in the Civil War, where there was the Confederacy and then there was the Union. Jefferson Davis, Abraham Lincoln. We could be looking at that right now. We don't even know it. The capital of the United States, could conceivably be Mar-a-Lago, okay? Which, yeah, baby. Well, who was it? I'll see if I can find the meme. Somebody put out a meme and said, they keep saying that the Capitol has a bunch of barbed wire and fences around it, and I was just there. I don't see any fences anywhere, and it's a photograph of Mar-a-Lago. So, guys, we are living in unprecedented times. We are living in absolute bizarro land times. I'm with you. I'm with you. Continue to pray. Continue to go before the throne of God and ask for forgiveness every single day. Yesterday when I got home from church, one daughter was going one way, the other daughter was going the other way. My wife is in Michigan doing some training for nursing. And so I was like, well, what do I do? I'm alone, boo-hoo. And as I've said before, that right up there on the hill is a wedding venue. And so when they're running weddings, I don't come out here and shoot. That's disrespectful. So I'm like, well, what do I do? So I ended up going for well, let's just call it 4 hours. I ended up going for a 4-hour drive. There were a couple of properties that were very similar to this type of terrain that I wanted to take a peek at, and I didn't want to bother, because it's Sabbath, I didn't want to bother the realtors, and I just wanted to go out and just have a nice quiet time and look at the properties. So I drove out there and there were no-goes. But anyways, 4 hours straight, guys. I didn't turn on the iPod. I didn't turn on the radio. I didn't listen to any blogs or any vlogs on my phone. Guys, for 4 hours straight, I drove and I talked to God. Guys, I want to be clear about something. I'm not Mr. Pious Pants at all. I have to go to the feet of God every day and ask for forgiveness and start over and start over and start over. I lose my temper, my eyes rest on things that I shouldn't be looking at. I become envious of someone's car, of someone's house. It's human nature, guys. It is what it is. You will sin here long before you will sin here, okay? So you have to keep going back to the throne of God. But the first thing is you have to recognize that you have sinned, and society is missing that. We are missing the mental acumen that's required to recognize that we're a messed up society, which goes back to the point that I was making earlier. There are so many people asleep in this country right now that during the impeachment trial, I guarantee you that was the first time a lot of Americans actually saw President Trump's speeches unedited. And guess what? The news media was forced to have to show it. Because if you're covering the impeachment trial, you got to show the impeachment trial. Now, they may have been cherry picking it. They may have been going to commercial. They may have been cutting away for any number of other things. I don't know. But the point is, if they were covering it, people who've been following CNN, Fox, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, for the first time saw that stuff unedited. And they showed it in a side-by-side of the edited and the unedited. So people would understand that President Trump has had a raw deal from the get-go. I said this a while back, but I don't really know if it ever made it into the final edit of the video, so I'll say it here. Last year, I cut Netflix. In fact, it may have been the year before, I don't know. I think it was early last year. I cut Netflix out of my life. I was sick and tired of the trash Netflix was ramming down my throat. I mean, you could not look at Netflix without looking at some trash being thrown at you. And I was fed up with it. I cut Netflix out. And I was like, well, let me go to Disney Plus, because Disney Plus has a lot of the old movies that my wife and kids and I like to watch. So I went there. Well, guess what? Disney Plus also went into the trash can. They're tied to ABC. ABC Sports went in and jumped in bed with Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Seriously? So I'm like, well, great. So I cut Disney Plus. And let me tell you when I cut Disney Plus. Before season 2 of The Mandalorian. I've not seen a single episode of The Mandalorian, and I cannot tell you how much that drives me nuts, because I really liked that show. I liked the old Western feel to The Mandalorian, but I will not support that company. I'm cutting Amazon. Why? Because I will not support that company. Because those people are not hurting America. They have hurt America. They have thrown America into the ditch. Guys, we are stuck with a fake president. Do you hear me? Please wake up. We're stuck with a fake president right now, sitting in the White House. Right now, we're stuck with a mess of a human being as a president. And there is ample evidence now. Look, I'll give you a great example. This very video is probably going to get jumped on. Like anything that I post that has anything to do with the elections, they're still jumping on my media. Big tech is still jumping on the media. It is what it is. Guys, I don't care. I'm already set up at Gab and Gab TV. If they cut my YouTube channel, if they cut Instagram, if they cut, well, yeah, those are the only two, YouTube and Instagram. If they cut those, I don't care. I'm on Gab TV, I'm on Full30.com, and I'm on Gab for social media. Guys, you got to speak truth. You got to speak truth. Hang on a minute. I see an enemy in the distance. That is about... That's got to be about 100 yards from me, and I'm on elevation too. Man, I don't even know if I want to take that shot. Dude, that dot is big. Honestly, that's worth proning out for. Yeah, that's out there. Remember, guys, I'm shooting really, really tiny targets. That one's out there. Let's give that a try. Haha! Sweetness. Oh. I love it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, well, this video's already gone on long enough, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Just wanted to close with by saying this. Please go to my website, tier1citizen.com, and get those copies of the 1776 report. Please share them far and wide, because people really need to see this stuff. The 1776 report is, guys, no joke. It is a love letter. It is a love letter to America from President Trump. And it's not a departing love letter. It's a love letter that says, I'll be back. Don't lose hope. Guys, I firmly believe that's why he did it the day before the elections. He was trying to do cues, you know, there's certain things he was trying to do to set America up in a position of protection. I've said this before in a video, and I'll close with this. Because I want to make sure that I'm giving you hope and not hopium. There's a difference. So I'm going to say this. Dude, that's... I can see it from here. Those are center hits. That's beautiful. And by the way, guys, from up there down to there is, like I said, roughly 100 yards. But the elevation is at least 30-ish feet, right? So I can't aim at that target, nor can I aim slightly above the target. I actually have to aim slightly below the target because elevation is an issue. I normally zero on that right there from way over there, 100 yards. And it's essentially a relatively flat trajectory from there to there. Here is an elevated trajectory. So I have to aim below that target to actually hit it. So that's beautiful. That's a dead center hit. So anyways, want to leave you with this. If you thought for a second that Biden being sworn in was legitimate and that they actually had true control of the government and of the military, then there's no way in the world that China would have waited to do anything other than strike. Because if you guys are anything like me, and I know that a lot of you are, you watched the inauguration and it made you physically ill okay? Just like me. It made me physically ill to watch that because I kept thinking, are you kidding me? This is actually happening. You know, why aren't the Blackhawks coming in? Frankly, what a naive statement that was of me to make. I mean, that was stupid and childish now that I think about it. The fact of the matter is, what all of this boils down to is that people like President Trump and other people, Mike Pompeo, for example, that's a sharp guy. Michael Flynn, that's a sharp guy. Those guys know that if we don't pull this out of the fire on our own, all we will do is fall right back into our same stupid patterns of decadent lifestyle, of worrying more about what Rihanna has to say or what George Clooney has to say or whatever the latest retard actor has to say, instead of reading our Bible, reading our history, recognizing that America is good, America is worth fighting for, America is worth living and fighting for. Everyone's like, oh, I'd die for my country. Okay, but are you willing to stand and fight for your country? Are you willing to inconvenience yourself for your country? Guys, understand what I'm saying here. Look, I'll give you a great example. The inconvenience for me, I work from home. When I'm working, making slings for you guys, I like having something playing in the background that I can watch with my mind's eye. I have dropped Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime. What the heck am I supposed to watch? See what I'm getting at? I have inconvenienced myself, and that is such a tiny infinitesimal inconvenience as compared to what our founding fathers inconvenienced themselves with to found this nation, to put this nation on a solid foundation for us. A republic, if you can keep it, we can't. We've lost it. We've lost the republic. Yeah, I'm yelling at you. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't be yelling at you on things on Valentine's Day, bro. I'm sorry. Yeah, we've lost America. We lost the republic. But I'm grateful to say that now that I've had a little more time to get over the they actually inaugurated him moment, and I started looking at it from a logical standpoint, and I started going, well, wait a minute, let's work the problem, okay? Let's work the problem. The Huns are not here just yet. Let's work the problem. Well, here's a gigantic clue for you, and I will leave you with this. If Biden truly is president and he's in control of everything, how is Charles Flynn, General Charles Flynn, brother of Michael Flynn, now the general in charge of Asian ground forces, of the Asian Army? I'm sorry, I want to be clear for those that don't understand. Of the United States Army in Asia. How is he in charge of that? If you're President Trump, if you're President Biden, would you actually appoint brother of Michael Flynn as general over the United States forces in Asia? Asia! China. Seriously? No. Please, folks, wake up. What they're trying to do right now is the normalization phase. They're trying to get us to go, oh man, they won. There's nothing we can do. Yeah, there is something you can do. Continue to resist. Continue to wake people up around you. And guys, look, even though Matrix is really from my generation, I always lose sight of which one's the red pill, which one's the blue pill. Sorry. But you need to start waking people up with that pill. Please start waking people up. And you need to be getting out here and you need to be working with your weapons. All right, on that, I will close. I thank you guys for your business on slings because you have no idea. It is keeping the lights on and food on our table, and I thank you for that support. As always, God bless you all. Have a good one. Get those guns out in practice. That was good. You know, it helps if you actually stare at your front sight post, because those are dead center of the chest. Have a good one, guys.